What is up, everybody? This is Brian, the Toyota guy over here at Fred Anderson Toyota in Asheville. Today I'm going to spend a few minutes with a car that just came off the truck. And that is a 2024 Corolla Nightshade. But stay tuned towards the end because there's going to be a bit of a guest appearance for a very similar car that I found over here in the pre-owned lot. So let's get in and talk about it. All right, 2024 Corolla Nightshade. Now this is an interesting one. The Nightshade moniker, the trim model, if you will, from Toyota, it comes and goes, and it kind of makes its guest appearances every couple years on a different trim model. Typically, it's an appearance package. It takes usually what's in a sporty or more luxury trim and makes it look a little bit more sportier, kind of blacks out some accents, usually eliminates chrome, things like that. In this case, you can see we actually do get some bronze wheels, which I'll talk about here in a minute. But these are based off the Corolla SE. And from what I can tell looking at these and doing my research, these do not really have a whole lot of differences between a regular SE and the Nightshade. But I still want to kind of show you around it because I still think it looks pretty good. Somewhat controversial, as I'll talk about here in a second, but it looks pretty good overall. So of course this particular Corolla is in midnight black. They really only have black, silver, and white as the options for this. You can see back here on the trunk, we have completely blacked out badging, which is kind of cool if you want to go for that blacked out look. I know some people prefer to have the black badging on the silver or on the white color. Just there's a little bit of a contrast on there. But just to kind of show you that on the back, you can see you do have the little deck lid spoiler on here. Apologize for this car being dirty. It literally just came off the truck like an hour ago, so it hasn't been washed. It hasn't been, I don't even think it's been PDI'd, if I'm honest with you. I just kind of stole it from them. But if you look up here on the front end, this is what I think is actually kind of interesting, is you can see up here with the grille and all the trim, we now have gloss black on everything. So it's basically, on this car, one solid color. There is the gloss black Toyota emblem here as well. And then you can see you've got these really nice LED lights that fit here in the bumpers. So really nice look. I do kind of miss the old XSE headlights. This is the same headlights that they use in the GR Corolla, and it's pretty standard across the lineup now, where it's got this little halo, like an upside down check mark kind of thing that goes around the headlight. But they had an older design on like the 1920s, I think 21s, that had kind of like this little angled look where the lines would kind of dip down in. I mean, it looks good now, but I kind of prefer the XSE look from back there. But I'm really happy with how this car looks. I mean, this car has been out for a few years, so it's getting a little bit dated now. I think the Corolla is going to be due for a redesign, which makes me curious what they'll do with the GR at the same time as well. But having all of this gloss black on the front end, I think does a lot for the looks of the car. Now, again, let's talk about these bronze wheels. I don't know what it is with Toyota, but they've got this like fascination with bronze wheels. It's like anytime they have a special edition car, they feel like they have to put bronze wheels on it. We had a Highlander that was the bronze edition, which was basically a souped up XLE, but it came with bronze wheels, and they weren't like specialized bronze wheels like these are. They were like the factory standard XLE wheels, but painted bronze, and it was just not a really intentional look. It just very quietly got dismissed for the next model year, and pretty much everyone that we ever sold here we gave away, and it was a hybrid only thing. So I don't know what is Toyota. They've done it with the 4Runners. Here they are doing it with the Corolla. Now I do think these wheels look good, and again, I'm going to talk about these here in a second. This is actually a wheel that, honestly, me being a Toyota guy and having an older Celica, I might try to find these wheels on the aftermarket at some point, because I think these would look really good on other cars also. But what is nice about having these wheels is they should be 18s. Yeah, so you come with a 225/40 18, and it's a Michelin tire. It's a Michelin primacy. It's an all season, but Michelin's got a really good reputation for driving dynamics, for sport grip and things like that. But what's nice is if we go over here and look at the fuel economy ratings, even though this is the SE and it has kind of like the sport tune suspension, you can see we get really good fuel economy. You know, 31 beating around town, which I think here in the mountains people get better than that. but you can see if you're doing highway driving, 40 miles per gallon. So, you know, if they'd put a stickier, you know, higher performance tire on there, it certainly would have robbed some of that fuel economy. But what's nice is you still get a good balance of, looks like a high performance all season tire on there that for most people it's just going to drive great on the street. But honestly, if you get it on a back road or a twisty road, it's still going to be a sharp handling car. Now, checking out the interior in here, this is pretty standard Corolla fare. This does have a leather wrap steering wheel. This particular Corolla doesn't have much in the way of packages. One of the main things is you can get the JBL stereo, which this one does not have to my knowledge. But this, I've talked about it in all my videos, but this is Toyota's standard touchscreen now. It does wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, works really well. It's really responsive. Toyota has their own kind of built-in navigation, which you can pay for, but you know, I don't think it's that big of a deal. But standard on these Corolla SEs and the Nightshades as well, you can see you've got an auto climate control system. These do have a CVT transmission. All Corollas do, minus the GR Corolla that of course has the manual. This is apparently kind of like a sport tuned CVT, but really where they're getting at is because with this transmission, Toyota CVTs work very different in general than the CVTs you've heard of in Nissans and Subarus that fail prematurely. Toyota uses a planetary gear system, which is nice because you almost get like a fake first gear. You have like a totally different first gear that then rolls into the CVT. So when you're rolling off the line, that planetary gear, that first gear kind of takes all the stress off the hard accelerations from a stop, but then also gives it a bit more of a traditional transmission feeling. And then of course, once you get up to highway speeds, then it transitions over, and most of the time it's just gonna, you know, you're not really gonna feel it. But no heated seats, no heated steering wheel, no dual zone climate. They have gone for USB-C pretty much everywhere now, which is nice to see. You can see you've got it right here in the center console, and you've got them back here on the back side of the center console as well. So very modern. For these Toyotas, you know, here at our store, we always have the phone cable packages in here, and it's nice that they give you all the correct USB-C cables for, you can see it's USB-C to Lightning or C to C. There is one A cable in there as well if you need, but it's nice that Toyota's, you know, over the last couple years or so has finally gone to the modern standard of charging. But as far as the rest of the interior, pretty standard fare. I'm actually shocked to see that this has the red kind of stripe and insert here. For whatever reason, kind of like with the bronze wheels, Toyota also has a fascination with blue, and they tend to think that blue is like the color of sport. So this is actually a little bit different, and I kind of like it. I think it's it does give it a nicer feel of the interior, but it's not anything that's too crazy, that's too loud. You know, they do have some red stitching here along the seats and the headrests, but it's not bizarre. It's not too crazy. The dashboard is pretty standard fare. What's funny is pretty much all of this looks exactly like the GR Corolla. It's only when you find the shifter and the seats and some of that stuff and the gauge cluster, of course. GR Corollas have a full digital display versus this is a more traditional analog display. But good room in here. I've got this front seat all the way back, and Corollas have always been pretty good when it comes to front passenger seating. Now let's just put this in a halfway decent spot where I could probably share some room at the rear. Yeah, I moved it up about one click. That's probably where I would want to be if there's people in the back. Let's just see how the back seat space is. There is a slight difference in the sedans and the coupes, and I think a lot of that is just like the headroom and how you get in and out, you know, how far the door opens. But let's just hop in and see what this is like. So this has been a complaint of mine with Corollas for a long time, but the legroom in the back seats suck, honestly. You can see right here, I've got this seat back in a fairly comfortable position for me, but not all the way back, and I'm definitely hitting this seat. And the hard part about it is the way that they've got these doors designed, and I feel like there's another way they could do this, but this juts out into the passenger compartment so far that you can see it actually cuts off my leg room to the right. So like here in the middle, you know, I can just kind of let my leg hang between the center of the two seats. But over here on the right side, you know, I'm about 6'3", you know, my leg is getting pinched right over here between the seat. And the feet room is okay. I've got about, you know, size 12 foot. And it's okay, honestly. I mean, it's better than some vehicles I've been in. I would say the feet room is better than the leg room. At least I can tuck my toes underneath the seat But over here on the outside, and you'll have the same problem over here, that's the only complaint I've ever had with Corollas, is the back seat space is just not that great. If we look at the headroom is passable. I mean, if I just sit here and slouch, it's totally fine. Obviously, if I sit up straight, my head is definitely hitting the ceiling, and that's where things are a little bit different, because if I'm not mistaken, I think the headroom is better with the hatchback and the Corollas, but the legroom is worse somehow. So it's been a minute since I've been in the back of a hatchback, but I'll have to check that out. But, you know, pretty average. This is a subcompact car. For what it's worth, I mean, if you're comparing this with a Honda Civic or like a Hyundai or Kia or one of those are absolutely going to have a much more functional, larger back seat. But, you know, my complaint with those is, you know, the subcompact car has really grown way too big in size. I mean, you know, at least the Corolla is still true to its form, where it's a true subcompact car and it's not gotten so bloated. I mean, right now, you know, the Civic and the Accord are almost the same when it comes to the interior room, at least how it feels. I haven't checked the dimensions, but they pretty much feel the same. So it's just kind of like a matter of styling and performance, you know, depending on which one you like. But the Corolla, you know, for better for worse, has stayed small. So it does give it a little bit better footprint when it comes to driving around, but you certainly lose out a little bit on the backseat comforts. Let's check out this trunk real quick. I will say, compared to the hatchbacks, I kind of feel like the trunk Corollas actually give you a bit more space, which sounds kind of weird, but it's the truth, in my opinion, at least, just because you have such a pretty decent sized cavernous hole here. You can certainly fit a lot of wider objects in, and like a lot of Toyotas, you can still fold the seats down. Now, as you can see, there is a raised section, so it's not completely flat there, but the way that you flip the back seats down is done from the inside here. You can kind of see right here on the top, this is between the two seats, there's a little knob here, and then basically that just folds right down. So you can see that's what I've done with the other side. So you do get almost the same benefits of a hatchback when it comes to kind of like the deepness of the space. Obviously with a hatchback, the main advantage is you're kind of taking the space and standing it up. So if you want to stack objects, you can, but at least with this, you can cram the trunk full and you're not losing out any of your rear visibility. Something else that's nice, that seems to be lacking in a lot of cars, this does have a popper back here for the rear trunk, which sounds weird to say, but some cars at this price point still have a manual release from inside. All right, let's check out the window sticker on this. So you can see this one is a Corolla Nightshade in Midnight Black. You can see over here, the only package that this one has that's a installed package is a convenience package, which is blind spot monitoring and the heated outside mirrors. That is nice. I meant to mention that earlier. It does have that. But you can look over here, typical stuff as far as port accessories, just Toyo Guard. You've got some of the clear paint protection film and the phone cable. So you can see there's no JBL package or anything like that on here. And you can see this comes out to MSRP of $28,142. So just shy of where you would be with a LE Camry. And I know I just did a video on that recently. So it's kind of interesting. Now the Camry LEs are all hybrid now, of course. All Camrys are, the 25s. So you do get better fuel economy now on a Camry than you do a Corolla, which I find interesting. But for what it's worth, this is obviously a Corolla gas model. So it's got the 2-liter engine, but you can get this same Nightshade model in the hatchback, which is gas only. And they do still have it for the hybrid model. So I haven't had a chance to see one of those in a minute. Corolla hybrids are kind of rare, not rare, but you know, kind of hard to get, it seems, in the world of Toyota nowadays. But so you can get this on a couple different trims, but if you want to have something that's kind of like a cheap, fun, sporty daily driver that's practical, certainly this will do it for you. All right, I promised you guys there would be a bonus car at the end of this, and I could not have timed this video better for the car that I'm walking up to. It is the successor to the Nightshade, and in my opinion, it is better. So let's go take a look at it. Here we go. No, I'm just kidding. I just saw this and it's pretty bad. It's actually one of the worst trade-ins I think I've seen over here in a long time. I have no clue the miles on this thing, but this Corolla, this poor Corolla has seen some miles. I don't think it's ever been washed. Oh my Lord. What? Oh my gosh. What is the story with this car? Oh God, there's ants. They must have just, oh my Lord. The windows had to be down. This thing is terrible. This is the worst. Oh God, the smell. Oh, all right, let's move on. So I could easily compare all of these Corollas to something like a GTI, but honestly, what I want to talk about is right over here. And for those that are in the know, you will recognize this, but this is a Corolla Apex, and man, this is, in my opinion, the way better way to go. Now, unfortunately, they do not make this anymore. This was kind of a difficult thing to get for the few years. I think it was like 1 or 2 model years that we had it. But this is the way better version of the Nightshade. So what's nice is you can see this has got the same exact wheels, but these are black. They are kind of like a gloss black. Now, this car is dirty. It just got traded in over the weekend. So don't judge this car's appearance right now. We're just using it as a comparison, but you can see it's the same exact wheels, same exact tires, it looks like, but these are black instead of bronze. So, and I like the bronze personally, but I would rather have the black more. But where they put the bronze on these is actually on the body kit. Now, this is a totally different body kit. The SE in the Nightshade Edition does not have this little kick out here, this spat that you can see right here, and you can see they've put the inside of that and the whole way across with that bronze accent. We've got gloss black mirrors here. We've got some bronze accents here on the front bumper, a very similar LED light, even though it is different. This does have the better headlights that I was talking about, where you can see it's got these little lines that go up into there. I just think it's a little better. You still have a gloss black grille, and I think the body kit itself is a little bit more aggressive. Yeah, because you can see it has also that same little aerodynamic front spoiler, if you will, here. It's kind of the same look of what's on the Corolla or the Camry XSE. But man, in my opinion, this thing looks 10 times better. And this car as well, if you can tell just from looking at it, especially comparing the two, these come lowered. So these have a factory, like a TRD spring setup, which does change the appearance of the car drastically. And you can see here, it just totally makes the car look perfect, in my opinion. There's a few more bronze accents here on the back bumper, but you know, you still have the black badging here. Interestingly enough, you've got the black roof. And then if we look at the interior here, what year is this one? So it's a 21. So for better, for worse, you can see this does have a different interior. It's got the white, the two-tone on the doors, which they used to do, the two-tone on the dash, which I think actually looks pretty good. You've got gray seating here, which need to be cleaned up a little bit. You've got kind of a similar stripe on here as you do in the red. And if we go actually in here, so you have a bigger screen, albeit this is the older screen. So this screen does not do wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and it's got regular USB-A ports. It still has push button start. You can still have everything on there, but it's just a bigger screen. Now, I don't know how this car is priced, but I would imagine we're probably talking, I don't know the miles or anything like that, but I'm sure we're talking significantly less. I mean, it's a pre-owned car, so it's kind of hard to compare the two. But this is what I miss. I miss when Toyota had the Nightshade out there, or not the Nightshade, the Apex Edition. Look at this, it even has like a, I'm pretty sure it's, yeah, it's the original exhaust tip on there, and it looks a little bit sportier. Everything about this car just looks better, and you can see they've used the wheels before. They've replaced the headlights with the more standard fare headlights. But this is what I like. I mean, we don't have blind spot on this car, so there's certainly some concessions you make. But if you're looking for kind of a sporty Corolla, if you can find one of these, I think this is the way to go. Personally, this is what I would buy because it's already set up and ready to go, especially if you're a car enthusiast. But honestly, that Nightshade's not bad either. Alrighty, so that's gonna do it. Sorry for the shade. It's just early in the morning, the sun is out. I always love walking this pre-owned lot, man. There's just always good stuff. There's a pre-owned new Tacoma. I'll have to have a conversation about that maybe. But such a cool comparison of these cars. I haven't seen in person an Apex Edition in, God, I don't know how long. So it's kind of neat that when I saw this come off the truck, at first I thought it was an Apex Edition. But then when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, they don't make the Apex anymore. It's the Nightshade. And then I just happened to be grabbing the keys for, looked up the hill, and then there was an Apex Edition. So kind of cool to see the both. Be curious to hear what you guys think. There's always some passionate people in the comments. So as always, thanks for watching and have a great day.